at the time? Where does it go? So much to craft, so much to sew.
Good morning, gifted crafters. It's crafting time.
I swear I can sew a straight line. Got me my buddy who can do it in no time. Hit the pedal to the metal, watch the stitches fly. That's my buddy, it's always by my side. So here's to my buddy, it's just me and my machine. Stitching our dreams, yeah, we make quite a team. Together we stitch, yeah, together we mend. Nothing is better than my sewing friend. So let me sew to my heart's content, stitching away till the fabric gets spent. Hypnotized, up and down the needle goes. Thread leaves the bobbin, so does my woes. So here's to my buddy, it's just me and my machine. Stitching our dreams, yeah, we make quite a team. Together we stitch, yeah, together we mend. Nothing is better than my sewing friend. There ain't a rip or torn my buddy can't fix. Keep it well oiled, a little TLC, that's the trick. Life with no machine, wouldn't know what to do. Take care of it, he'll take care of you too. So here's to my buddy, it's just me and my machine. Stitching up dreams, yeah, we make quite a team. Together we stitch, yeah, together we mend. Nothing is better than my sewing friend. My sewing friend.
Live from the Sunshine State in Miami, Florida, here is the Gifted Crafters Morning Show with Nancy.
Good time. Ooh, time to get our craft on. Ooh, time to have fun. Ooh, time to feel good.
Good morning, Gifted Crafters, and welcome back to the Gifted Crafters Morning Show. Good morning out there. I see people from Alabama. We've got Florida. Hey, neighbor. We've got Louisiana. We've got Maryland and New York City. Awesome. Thank you for joining and tuning in today. I really appreciate all of your support, and it's really fun that you guys can join me on my sewing journey, and we do all kinds of fun things here. So if you're tuning in for the first time, my name is Nancy with GiftsHQ, and this is just our little channel here where we like to enjoy just kind of communicating with each other and just basically doing all kinds of crafts. We do things from sewing, knitting, embroidery, all kinds of crafts that you can think of. And we just like to share tips, tricks, and ideas. So if that's something that you're into, you're certainly in the right place. Go ahead and say hi. Don't be shy. We've got a few people in our community out here, and we love to help each other out and share all kinds of tips. So you'll have a great time, and we love to have you here. And if you're watching on the replay, I really appreciate your support. Go ahead and leave a comment, because I like to read those too, and we like to communicate that way as well. Alrighty, yay, hello. Oh, hey, my friends from Canada. Good morning. How are you? We've got people from Michigan here. Hey, Cindy. And of course, my sister is still in New York City visiting my cousin. So she is watching from there as well. Yay. Alrighty. Yes, from Florida as well. Awesome. Awesome. Okay. Awesome. Yes, we're almost at 10,000 subscribers. We are so excited about that. We are just about there. So if you haven't subscribed, please consider subscribing and help us reach our target for the year. We really would appreciate that and love that. And once we get to that 10,000 subscribers, we want to do something a little bit special. So more to come on that. Awesome. Okay, we're here from Philly as well. Awesome. Good morning, East Texas. Good morning to you. All righty. Well, guys, I guess it's that time in the morning, right? So shall we? Let's do our little toast here. If you've got your little cup of whatever it is that you drink in the morning, go ahead and grab that. And doesn't matter what it is. I'll pour you a cup of whatever it is anyway, whether it be soda, coffee, water, whatever you drink in the morning. There's no judgment here. Go ahead and grab a little sip. I'm going to grab a sip of mine myself here. A little thirsty here. Okay, and cheers to you. Yes, needed some of that, a little bit of water in the morning. Okay, good morning. Yes, thumbs up. Thank you, Melissa. All righty. So, in terms of announcements, in Virginia, this is in Fredericksburg, Virginia, and that is the original Sewing and Quilting Expo that is here. That's going to be in Fredericksburg, Virginia, September 25th, 26th, and 27th. I will be in that area attending the expo. So shoot over an email to me or just let me know if you're going to be attending, because I would love to meet with you and just have a little chatter, right? Why not? We love our little stitching chatter because we're going to learn lots of things there at the expo. I've got a few classes that we're signed up for, and I'm bringing my mom along too, and I'll be meeting my sister there. So it'll be a little family gathering at the expo. It's going to be a lot of fun. So if you can join us, that will be fantastic. We'll also be heading over to Sarasota for my son's competition. He is going to be going to states to represent for Special Olympics stand-up paddle boarding, and he is a level 2, so he's got a lot of miles going on that water. So
my boy.
that is a picture of him right there. That's my son Herman, and yeah, wish him lots of luck because he's training right now. So we love for him to kind of do really well on there. So we'll see. Fingers crossed, right? Awesome. Okay, North Dallas, good morning. Awesome. Alrighty, let's get right to it, guys, because today we are going to continue working on our new project that we just started yesterday. It's the Ho 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 Pillow Wrap and Cover Kit, and this is by the Whole Country Caboodle. This right here, there it is. There's a picture of the package right here. It's a little kit that you can purchase. I actually purchased this from the Cotton Patch Quilt Shop. You can find them online, no affiliates or anything like that. I did visit their store and we did a little tour of the store and a video with them, and ladies there, awesome little doggies at the store. Really, really cute store. They had a blast there. So if you want to support them, it's always great to support your local quilt shops, right? Laura is just absolutely amazing there, and she is a really fun person to be with, and we had a lot of fun that day. So hopefully, you know, I can get to see her again. Alrighty. Hey, Krissa, good morning. Okay, so this is what we're working on, and we started it off yesterday, and so we're going to be kind of continuing this journey and pulling this together, and I'm just doing it along with you. So isn't that a lot of fun? Okay, so before we get to all of that, let's jump into our crafting news, because we do have a couple of things to do. Oh wait, but before that, so sorry, I forgot you guys didn't get your snacks. Well, let's head over to our food stand and get our little exercise in, shall we? Okay, guys, gotta get the exercise in. Go ahead, no fighting, make the line. Come on, you can do the walk here. Little bit of excitement here. Got to stretch those legs and reach out and go to that little food cart and get all your little goodies. We've got everything from coffee, donuts, we've got cookies, croissants, muffins. We even got the kale and carrots for the healthy people here. Awesome. Okay. Alrighty, so now you have your snacks and we've got our coffee, tea, or whatever it is you're drinking, and we're all settled in. Get to your nice little cozy spot and we can start. Yes, two please. Sure, absolutely. You can have anything you want. It doesn't cost anything. It's totally free and there's no calories. Okay, awesome. All right, so now let's head over to our crafting news because we've got a couple things to let you know about. Okay, so first off, we're gonna go over to the Oregon coast and we've got some heartwarming news over there. So if you love quilts that tell a story, you're gonna wanna mark your calendars for this one. We've got Gloria, and I'm not sure if I'm gonna say her last name right, Zergs, I believe. She's a talented quilter in Newport, Oregon, and she's just been named the Feathered Quilter for the 2025 Quilts by the Sea show. And this is a special event that's hosted by the Oregon Coastal Quilters Guild, and that takes place August 1st and 2nd at the Newport Recreation Center. That's Friday from 9 to 5 and Saturday from 9 to 4. And the tickets are just $10, and the kids 12 and under get in free with an adult. So Gloria has a quilting journey that a lot of people can admire. She learned to sew from her mother and the 4-H leaders. And years later, she created a spark that resonated with when she discovered a family quilt that was tucked away in the attic. So the moment that she saw that, it kind of led her down the path of learning and experimenting and eventually creating art quilts that really reflected her love of animals, nature, and storytelling. And Gloria's quilts have been featured all over the country, from Portland to Houston to Paducah. Now, she and her husband, Mac, have been living and building their lives in Lincoln County since the 1970s. And get this, now, she works out of her very own large quilting studio in Naya Beach. And it just sounds like a dream come true. It's really amazing how she got to really do something that she really loves just by bumping into an attic and finding a quilt. That's what started it all. Isn't that really amazing? Now, if you're in the Oregon area, you may want to stop by and see that show. It's pretty neat. They're going to have traditional and art quilts, friendly faces, and a community that celebrates creativity. So if you'd like more details on that, go ahead and go to the OregonCoastalQuilters.org website and check the events section there. Okay, another cute little story to give you guys. And this is about a long lost quilt with a little bit of history and a whole lot of heart. So Mary Jo from Sandpoint, Idaho, was browsing through the local quilt shop when she just kind of stumbled on a dusty old bag that was filled with colorful quilt squares. Each one was hand embroidered with a woman's name, and it turned out that they were made by members of the Colbum 4-H Club that was way back in the 1940s. Okay, now Mary Jo, oh, let me grab a water here. Okay, had a little frog there. So Mary Jo tucked away the bag for years, and then something kind of nudged her, and she finally bring those pieces to life. So with help from the ladies at her church and her quilting guild, she carefully squared the blocks, added some sashing, and stitched it all together. Now, it wasn't easy because some of the squares were different sizes, but with a lot of patience and love, she made it work. So she even did some detective work with her local historian society to find out who these women were. Moms, grandmas, neighbors, all part of a small community with big hearts. And these women baked for the USO, worked on Red Cross projects, and gathered quilt to quilt. just like many of us do today. So Mary Jo plans to enter that quilt in the Bonner County Fair in August, and she will finally share it after 70 years of it being stored away, and that's where it all started. So it's pretty cool that, you know, you leave a little bit of history when you are making those quilts, and who knows, you know, who's going to find them, because you hope that your family will cherish it and pass them down generation to generation, but at some point it may get lost in the shuffle and someone may find it. So it's always important to put those labels on those quilts. So pretty neat. I thought those were some really cute little stories there, but I wanted to bring that out to you. Okay, got that little frog in my throat today. Can't get rid of it. Alrighty. So I hope you guys had a fantastic day yesterday. It was Monday, start of the new work week, but I think now we're ready to jump right into our project. Okay, so yesterday we were taking a look at the very first step when you look at the instructions. So I kind of showed you what came into the package here, and we looked at the layout sheet that is included, as well as the little templates. And we said we can put these kind of in our scan and cut, and then we're going to try to use Becky's method and snap-applique some of this. As I was looking at the instructions a little bit further though, there are a lot of pieces that kind of lay on top and some on bottom. So I'm going to have to really think about how we're going to lay this out, and the positioning and the order of how we lay down the pieces. The beard itself right here, you can see just from this layout page, you've got these little swirly lines. Well, the beard itself doesn't have these swirly lines here. They want you to go ahead and quilt any swirly design that you want on here. So that's going to be a little interesting, and I would love to embroider that and have the embroidery machine do these little swirls. So I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to do that, and I'm kind of working that through in Brilliance. So if you're not quite sure what I'm talking about when I talk about snap-applique, that is a process that Becky Thompson from Power Tools with Threads has developed. A little process that she put together, and it's basically taking a paper pattern and turning it into an embroidery file where your embroidery machine will make will do the stitching for you instead of you having to stitch. So she's trademarked that process and that name, and she has done a remarkable job, and she teaches people from all over the world through videos, and then she also does some places where she goes over and she teaches them. So that's amazing, and I really love to watch her. If you guys don't follow her, she's amazing there too. But I'm going to try to give this a whirl. But this one's kind of a little bit extra because I do have to add things that are not on the template. So if you look at the template itself, it's just plain. It doesn't have any of that swirl. So that's something that I'll have to add in Brilliance. And if you've got Stitch Artist, you should be able to kind of create your own here. So what I may try to do is maybe scan the layout pieces and just try to use the nodes and just put the nodes around here and create that swirl. I'm going to kind of see how it goes, have to play around with that a little bit, but we'll see when we get to that step. In the meantime, there's some prepping that we have to do here. So we're going to go ahead and work on the prep stuff today. So let's see here. I'm going to move this over to the side. Thread here. And I'm going to show you guys, yesterday we took this tea towel, or it was a tea towel, and we turned it into a pillow. And I'm going to go ahead and turn it so that you guys could see. I went ahead and I finished the stitching, and I'll bring this out. You poke out all the corners here. Almost there. All right. So we took our tea towel and we went ahead and folded it. And we had to have an overlap of 1.5 inches, which we do. okay? And so on here, once we have that 1.5 inches on both sides, then we went ahead and we stitched right along the edge here. And I did use a thread that is matching this color, so you can barely see the thread at all. And so all I did was close this up, and then that turned the tea towel into a pillowcase, right? And so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna flip this right back out, and I'll have to poke out my corners again. So I'm gonna use my little tool here to poke those out, make sure that my corners are nice and square. And you're going to do that on each corner. So you push it out with your finger as much as you can, and then you just take the little tool here and turn it. This is by Clover, but you could use a chopstick. You can use anything that'll help you get that little corner out. Mostly use your hands, and then when you can get your hand into that little corner anymore, then that's when the little tool comes out, and it's a little easier to poke it out and make it nice and square. Okay, here is the last piece here. Do I have that here? Not quite. Hold on. There we are. Okay. So we've got this all poked out here. I'm going to turn this over this way. And now the next thing that the instructions tell you to do is to go ahead and add the little Velcro, if I can find it. I just had it a few minutes ago. Where did it go? 1 second. Hope it didn't fall. Oh, there it is. Here we are. So it gives you a long piece of Velcro, and I'll leave this out as well. It gives you a long piece of Velcro, and then you have to cut it down at about 3 inches. But then you're also going to use the Velcro later on in the project. So just cut as specified that it says on the pattern, because the rest will be used. So don't just toss it away. So let me set some of this to the side. I've already cut one piece, and I went ahead and secured it in place, and I've got it to 2 more. So I'll show you how I did that. So let me grab my rotary cutter, and I want to make sure that my Velcro is lined up. And then I'm just going to cut 3 inches. So I'm just going to grab my little ruler here. Let me move these over to the side. There we go. And I'm just going to be cutting 3 inches. Okay. So right under the ruler here, I'm just going to lay the Velcro in at 3 inches. Make sure it's nice and flush against the line so it's nice and straight, and hold it down as best you can. It is very bulky, so it's a little difficult. And then I like to kind of just press really hard on top of it, and then just kind of move, and that'll cut that piece off. And then I'm going to cut one more on here, and just hold that down and do the same thing. There we go. So this is what you have left, and that's what's going to come in handy later on in the project. So I'm just going to stick that in the bag so it doesn't kind of grow legs and walk away on me. All right, so now let's come back here, and we're going to look at our pillowcase. And we have already sewn this together. So this is going to be the opening that you're going to use to put the pillow in and out of. And so we want to reinforce it with these little tabs. Now I'm going to go ahead and open these up, because these can be a little bit tricky. And you have a soft side to the Velcro, and then you have the side where all the loops are. I'm going to go ahead and sew the piece with the loops first, because I find that that sometimes can be a little bit difficult because of all the loops when you're sewing it. So I'll try to get this one done first, and then I'm going to do another one on the end here. So I'm going to go ahead and just open these up. So the soft side, I'm going to just leave up here. We'll do those next, but we're going to do the side with the little loops first. And so you're going to grab some pins. Okay. And all you're going to do is just kind of look to see where you want to put this. And let me undo this one here so you guys get an idea. So all I'm doing is lining up my tabs with the loops facing me. And I'm just going to eyeball this and put it right on the fold right here. Just a tiny bit below it. Right? I'm going to put it right there. And so that's where I want it to stay. Now, I can't pin this, but it's going to be really difficult to pin. So I'm going to use my clips, and then I'm going to go ahead and just clip that in place. And then I'm going to do the same thing over on this side. Grab the side with the loops facing up. And you're just going to put that down here. And just line it up there. Just clip that in place so it doesn't move. Okay. Then what we're going to do is we're going to need to kind of put the other side of the Velcro, this is the smooth side, and line it up with your loops, right? So you don't want this to be way up here because it will never be able to close, right? So how do we line this up so that it lines up with the Velcro? Well, the only thing I did was kind of lift it up here. I make sure that my fabric's nice and flat, and I'm just going to lift where the Velcro ends, and I'm just going to place it right there underneath, just lining it up. So make sure it's lined up. And that's all you want to do there. And then I'll just pull it back. And that's where I'm going to want to pin it in place. And you just want it so that when you lay it down, the other way you can do it is just kind of lay it on top so it sticks just slightly. Let me pull this a little bit. So just close it up and let it fall. And you know that's where you want it. And then just kind of stick your finger in between to separate it, to make sure that that stays in place, right? And then just take your pin, and this side you can pin because it is a little soft, and just pin it in place. You just want to kind of temporarily hold it right there until you can get to sew that in place. And then you do the same thing with the other one. So I'll move this over a little bit. Make sure this is straight. And then just place it right underneath. Hold that in place. And then I'll grab my pin. And pin this down. Okay. Then just kind of go back, lay everything down, and check. You know, this may move around. I just have one little pin holding it, which is fine as long as it's catching and it's not showing. So this one may be a little bit too high up. So I'm going to undo here, and I'm going to bring this down a little bit as long as this is able to catch. Here we go. And I'll repin that. It's a little hard because the pins, Velcro is a little rough, so it's kind of hard to see it. So now you just want to make sure that you don't have any drag lines or anything, and everything's laying nice and flat and it's capturing the Velcro. And you can kind of just pick it up and take a little peek to see that everything is lined up. This is looking good. This one's a little low for my taste, but I think I moved it a little too low. I'm going to adjust this one more time. Let's move this. Yeah, it was a little low here. There we go. I'm going to go right there. It may have moved on me. Here we are. So it's good to kind of just check. There we are. Okay. So now that we've got this all pinned in place and this is all lined up, now we're going to take this over to our sewing machine and we're going to go ahead and just sew down the Velcro. And then that will allow our casing to close and we can put our pillow insert and it'll be all good. Bye. Okay, so let me move this over. You got to drag my machine over here. Here we go. Okay. Now, I'm going to go ahead. Oh, can you use two-sided basting tape? You can. That's another option. Yeah, you can certainly put some little, a little tape in here. That would help as well. Little stitchery too underneath. That'll just hold it. Some people may even just use a little dab of glue just to hold it in place until you can get it into your sewing machine. So yeah, but if you're wanting to just use that only, I wouldn't suggest it because you're gonna be pulling on that Velcro a lot as you're opening the pillow, and maybe you want to wash this, and so all that pull and tear on the Velcro puts a lot of stress, so you need reinforcement on it. So you can't just use the double-sided tape because that won't be enough to reinforce it, but you can use it to temporarily hold it into place until you can get it to your sewing machine. You definitely do that, but there's a lot of wear and tear on here because of that. Harriet says the possibilities are endless with these tea towels and wraps. Yeah, ideas are swirling in my head. Yeah, it's you know, and there's so many out there, and there's just, you can make little bags, you can make pillowcases. I mean, there's just so much you can do with tea towels, and you can find some really adorable ones, and they're relatively low cost. So if that's something, you know, if you have maybe a little store or something that you're looking to sell products with, you can check out tea towels because you may really like what you find with those. And, you know, you can just find that you can make so many different things at a pretty low cost. So it's endless, your imagination on there. So you can definitely do a lot with that. Okay, so I've got this in my sewing machine here, and I'm going to go ahead and remove my first clip here. And you can see that I've got it lined up just a hair underneath this right here because I don't want this to show. So I just have it just slightly below, but it's nice and straight. And so I'm going to line this up here. Make sure that this is lined up back here as well. And I'm going to go ahead and put down my foot. Now, I've got my center. So I'm going to do about right there. Now this one is not, you don't have to sew it any one way. You can kind of do it any way you want. You can, I've seen people just do one straight line across. I don't particularly like that because I feel like it needs more reinforcement because there's so much pull and tug that goes on with this. So I'm just going to go ahead and do a little square right along the edge and just go ahead and tack that down. And that should give it enough reinforcement for all the wear and tear that's going to happen with this, because we're definitely going to be pulling and tugging this as, you know, you swap it out or you want to wash your little pillowcase and things like that. So let's go ahead and do that. Let me drop my needle here. Wrap my threads to the back. And I'm just going to hold on to the Velcro. I'm leaving the other clip on till I get closer. And then I'm just going to go ahead and stitch this down. And I'm a little too close there. There we go. Oops. Uh-oh. We slipped. It slipped. My little clip was a little too close and I didn't take it off in time. So I'm just going to kind of go back. It really doesn't matter because you're not going to see this. The thread that I'm using is kind of the same thread color as the pillowcase, so I'm okay with it. So just going to leave it there. We'll try that one more time here. Okay. There we go. Now you can see it kind of slips on you, so you got to be a little careful. There we go. Just do a couple more stitches, and I'm going to back up one or two, and let's go ahead and pivot that and move my clip out of the way. And I'll just do a couple little stitches here. Doesn't need to be all the way to the end. And now here's where it gets a little tricky because I do need to turn it and I don't have too much throat space. So my needle is down and I'm doing my pivot and I'm just kind of pushing all this here. There we go. And I'll go ahead. And that's why I do the loops first, because this one's a little bit difficult to sew. The smoother side is a little easier to get in there. And then we come right back around. And that's it. We've got our first one in there. Let me clean up the threads here a little bit. There we go. And there it is. Not too bad. You can see the other side and you can barely see the thread, right? So looks good, nice and reinforced. It's not going to go anywhere. I have a couple more threads to cut off here. Just hanging threads. I want to get rid of those. You can do it now. You can do it at the end. It doesn't matter. Okay. And so now I have this all reinforced in here, and I'm just going to do the same thing with the other two. And you can see how tricky this can get because these little loops make it really difficult to kind of sew, but you have to kind of really get into position, but it can slip on you as you guys saw. So just kind of get into place and put your presser foot down, and then I'll put my needle down there. And I won't keep the clip on as close as I did last time. At least I'll try not to. Sorry guys if I bumped the camera a little bit there. Gotta really hold it in place. And let me take my clip off now this time. And kind of, you're in a really small little space, so do the best you can. And you can hear the little crunching sound from all the little loops. And then I'm gonna pivot, leave that needle down, lift up that presser foot, and pivot. Okay, and then just go ahead, couple stitches here, leaving the needle down, lifting the presser foot, and pivoting again. Line it up, put your presser foot down, and then continue. Okay, if you go too much, just back it up. And then lift it up and turn again. Bring down that presser foot and a couple more stitches. Okay. Let's cut those threads. Let's take a look. You can see that here, nice and secure. Just got some threads to cut here. All good. Awesome. Oh, yay. Love watching you sew. I miss my machines. Aw. She's been a member for 2 months. That's my sister from Boricua Sewing and Crafts. So I'm going to cut my threads here. And then I'm going to go ahead and move over to the last one here. And it's already gotten stuck together here. So let me undo that. What you can do too is just clip the first 3 and then go back and pin the other side. So that way it's kind of out of your way. But I went ahead and just kind of saved some time and did them all at the same time here. But go ahead and line it up. Let me take the first clip off so it's out of the way. Line that up, bring down that presser foot. Remember, you really need to hold it down because it's only 3 inches and we've got the 1 clip hanging on the other side. So you really have to kind of hold this in place because it'll shift around on you, just like you saw earlier. Okay, needle down. I'm not liking where that is. Let me move it over just a tad. That's better. Okay. I'm going to pause, take off the other clip. Make sure I'm nice and lined up so I can hold this down with my fingers as I sew. Okay. Lift up the presser foot, pivot, and it's got hung up here. There we go. Just make sure it's nice and straight, and then go ahead and put your presser foot down. Take a couple more stitches here, leave that needle down, and pivot once more. Okay, a lot of bulk in this tiny little throat space here, but it'll work. Okay, and then pivot just one last time. There we go. I'll do one more. There we go. Okay, all done on one side with the Velcro. So that's already in place. So that one looks good as well. Nice and in place, nice and secure. It's not going to go anywhere. And we're ready to just sew the other side now. So I'll just go ahead and lay this out really quick. Just want to make sure that everything is still in place. Scoot these over to the side. And just check to make sure they're still lined up. Looks like they are. They're already kind of attaching. So I'll go ahead. Now we get to sew the other side. And we have those pinned already. So let's go ahead and grab that. And it's kind of even sticking to my sweater here. A little tough there. There we go. Okay. So we're going to lay this out here. Make sure this is nice and straight. Bring down my presser foot. And I'm just going to do the little square on here. Okay. Just going to take a couple stitches before I remove that pin. Just see here. Okay. And let me just remove the pin now. Oop, we dropped it. Okay. All right. And then this one's a little bit easier, a little smoother. You don't have all of those loops in place. So it's a little bit easier of a sew to do. And let's just hold that. One more pivot here. Can I cut my threads and do this on the other side? I can, but it's not too bad. I can fit this in the throat. So I'm going to go ahead and just leave it there. Oop. Just make sure you don't have nothing underneath. You don't want to sew your pillow closed by mistake. All right, and the last pivot here. There we go. Okay. All right. And once again, whoops, didn't cut that thread. Now we've got the soft part of the Velcro. And you can see a little square that we sewed. So I'm just going to cut this thread off. And let's just go ahead and do the other two here. Let's see how we're doing on time. Alrighty. Let's grab the second one here. Line this up. See if we can do this one a little quicker. Okay, I'm going to bring it over just a tad. Bring that needle down. Yeah, I'm good. Okay. Again, my pin, kind of move it out of the way just a tad. But I don't want to take it off until I've gotten a couple stitches in there. So just kind of anchor that in so it doesn't move. And then I'm going to go ahead and pull out the pin. And sew the rest. You still need to hold that down because it still can shift around you, on you there. So just hold it down in place with your hands. And then bring this down. Couple more stitches here. Lift this again. This one's the tough part because you got a limited space here, but it's okay. It's just a quick little stitch. And then one more pivot on here. There we go. Okay. Cut those threads, and then now we are left with the very last one. Same thing. Oops, sorry again. Same thing on this side. This one does look a little bit lower than I'd like. I'm just going to move this a smudge here. Yeah, that looks about right. Okay, so let's line this up a tad. Okay. Almost done, guys. Kind of got to be careful because your pillow can get hung up on the edge here since you have that opening. Okay. Lots going on here. There we go. Okay. All done. Now, let me put this over to the side. Got a pin here to put away and one over here. And I'm just going to cut my threads and then we'll see how we did in terms of lining this up. We've got a couple threads here and there to cut. Okay. I'll do the others. So now I'm going to go ahead and lay this flat. And see how we did here. Well, right off the bat, I think so far it looks good because I don't see any of the Velcro. Just trying to get all these threads out of the way. There we are. So that looks good. And then I'm just going to kind of take a peek here just to make sure everything looks good and lined up. So let's see. Make sure I am lined up here on each of these. And even if you're off just a little bit, it's okay. And it looks like everything's laying nice and flat. So I think we are good on our Velcro. So we are ready to go ahead and just insert our pillow, and our pillowcase is all nice and done. So we're done with this part of the project. So what we're going to be moving over to now is basically preparing the base of the wrap. And so I'm going to move this over to the side, and I'm just going to briefly show you here. The package does come with the foam, and the foam, if just by looking at it itself, and you guys may be able to see it right on the screen, you can see it's very wonky. It is not cut straight at all. So when you get these things from the kit, always check to make sure, because if you can see here, look at how much foam. It's way off, right? Now it does give you the measurements in the pattern, and it's definitely, oh, thank you, Joyce. I'm glad you appreciate it. I'm taking the time to explain everything. Thank you. I hope you guys enjoy that. I really like for you guys to kind of follow me along on this. So when you get this out of your package, don't think that everything is cut to exactly where it needs to be. All right, fabric is a natural fiber. It moves and it breathes, right? So you always want to check this. You've got this foam. Now this is a fusible foam that's fusible on one side, non-fusible on the other. And this piece has measurements to it that are in the pattern, but as you can see, it is not straight at all. So we're gonna have to straighten this out. And I'm just basically going to take my shortest side, I believe it's 10 inches with the width. So I'm going to make sure that they're 10 inches, and I'm going to try to keep this straight all the way down because I don't want a wonky pillow wrap. So I will have to straighten this out. And then the next thing that I'm going to do is basically going to take the fabric that the kit came with. And again, this fabric is going to be larger than the foam. So some people, what they do is they go ahead and they cut the fabric to size, right? Whatever size the pattern tells you to cut it out with. And then they go ahead and they iron this on the foam. I kind of like to do things the opposite way because I like to leave myself a little bit of room in case of errors, right? So what I prefer to do is I'll go ahead, I'm going to iron this piece of fabric by itself. And then I am going to lay this on the fusible side, right? So fusible side will be facing up, and I'm going to lay the wrong side of my fabric facing down. So it will be like this. I can get this to lay down. There we go. It's kind of long, so there we go. And so I'll have this laid out right on top, and then I had already ironed this piece. So now I'm going to iron the fabric onto the foam, and it's got this fusible here. So I'm going to fuse the two together. When you do that, I can then flip this over, and I'm going to kind of make sure that my fabric and my foam are cut to the right size. And you can see, I mean, it's really wonky on one side. It almost looks like it's stretched and bent over a little bit, because you can see here as I place the ruler here, You can see how it's kind of going in like a V. And then on the other side, it's just sticking way out here. So this has shifted around. So what I prefer to do is I'm going to go ahead and fuse this together, and then I'm going to trim it off and make sure that it's nice and square. That way my fabric and my foam are all squared together on the same side, and I'll get this nice and straight. So you do have to clean up these edges. So I'm going to go ahead and do that tonight. I will iron this piece, fuse it to the foam, and square this off. And then we'll pick that up tomorrow, and it'll be all nice and ready to go. And then we can kind of focus on the pattern itself and how we're going to bring this into embroiderings and start working on putting the applique together and how we're going to set that up and kind of have the embroidery machine stitch it out for us. So that'll be a lot of fun, a lot of figuring out to do in embroiderings, and we'll kind of do that together tomorrow. So that'll be a great time for that. Okay, let's get over to our inspirational quote of the day because we're running low on time. So let's head over to that. Okay, so today's quote of the day is, "Sewing for the holidays early means more time for baking, laughing, and avoiding the holiday rush." Yes, and that's, I think, you know, Christmas in July is just our little trigger point to start our projects, right? And that will allow us to be not so stressful at the end of the year. All our projects will be done, and we'll be able to enjoy the time with family and friends. And that's really why you like to kind of push yourself now in order to get this stuff done, and you can enjoy the process as you go and making the gifts for loved ones. Alrighty, so we are at the end of our hour, guys, and we have other YouTubers that are out there, and we love to support each other. So please go ahead and support all YouTubers out there. They work really hard in putting these things together, and I hope you guys really enjoy sewing along with me because it's a lot of fun. And we want to really finish up this project by the end of the week. So I'm hoping we can get that done. So we've got Becky from Power Tools with Threads coming up next. And I hope you guys really enjoy watching her as well as much as I do. Please go ahead and hit the subscribe button if you haven't. We're really trying to make that 10,000 mark. And don't forget to hit the thumbs up button because that really helps us out as well. Thank you guys all for tuning in. I hope you have a fantastic day, and I hope to be crafting with you soon. Bye, everyone.
So long for now, so long. Glad you stayed a while. Hope you liked my crafting style. Hope I left you with a smile. By now, keep your mind and space clutter-free. Hope your day is bright as can be. So long, my friends, till we craft once again. Bye now, stay crafting. See you tomorrow. So long, my friends, till we craft once again.